You're born during a violent thunderstorm in a private hospital on the edge of Marseille, the kind of place most people will never even see from the inside. The entire top floor is sealed before you arrive. Elevators stop at lower levels, security stands at every entrance, and silence is enforced so perfectly it feels unnatural. Nurses lower their voices without being told. Doctors move carefully, not just with professionalism, but with awareness. Outside, lightning splits the sky above the harbor while the city continues as usual, unaware that above them, a life is beginning that was decided long before your first breath. Before your first night ends, flowers arrive from powerful men your father has never publicly met. Rare wine is opened downstairs, and a gold bracelet with your initials is placed beside your crib. Your name begins to exist in rooms you will not enter for years. You don't choose this life. It claims you before you even understand light. Your childhood unfolds inside an estate built into limestone hills above the sea, a place that looks peaceful from a distance, but functions like a perfectly designed fortress. Pale stone walls, long terraces, sculptures, gardens, a library that feels endless. Everything suggests freedom, yet everything is controlled. Cameras sit where no one notices them. Gates open only when someone important arrives, and every movement is accounted for. You grow up surrounded by beauty while slowly realizing that freedom is the one thing your world does not offer. You don't attend school like other children. Tutors come to you instead. Language experts, economists, historians, all selected with precision. Your father calls knowledge a weapon, and he says it so casually it sounds like a simple truth. You learn multiple languages. You study markets before you understand what normal teenagers do. And every lesson quietly points toward one idea. Power belongs to those who understand systems before anyone else. But your real education happens in silence, in conversations that stop when you enter, in the way drivers never speak unless asked, in the way certain parts of the house become inaccessible on certain nights, in the way your mother smiles perfectly at dinner but stares too long at the sea afterward. At first, your father feels larger than life, calm, controlled, never loud but always obeyed. He doesn't need to raise his voice. His presence alone changes the room. He shows affection rarely but precisely. A hand on your shoulder, a quiet approval, a gift from a trip you didn't know he took. Yet there is always a part of him that feels locked away. When he disappears, no one explains. When he returns, everything shifts. More guards, more tension, more conversations held just out of reach. You begin to understand something most people never see clearly. He is not respected. He is feared. And fear is what keeps everything in place. By the time you are 8, you begin noticing details others think you're too young to understand. Your father's shipping companies operate openly. Containers move through the harbor under his name. Everything appears legitimate. But you notice patterns that don't fit. Trucks that arrive without records. Men who don't belong in the same room, yet meet anyway. Documents that exist in two versions. You hear words repeated often enough to stay with you. Routes, delays, percentages, silence. You're told your father is a businessman, and part of you wants to believe it. But another part begins to understand that truth in your world is something carefully constructed. At 11, you witness fear clearly for the first time. A man arrives late at night, nervous, sweating despite the cold. He is taken into your father's study. Voices remain low, but the silence outside becomes unbearable. When he leaves, he looks different, emptied, as if something invisible has been taken from him. No one explains. No one needs to. That's when you understand consequences in your world are not theoretical. They are real, immediate, and personal. By 13, you are introduced to men who look like executives, but carry themselves like something else entirely. They don't smile much, they don't waste words, and when your father presents you, their reaction isn't warmth, it's acknowledgement. You feel it instantly. You are not just a child. You are becoming part of something larger than yourself. Around the same time, you meet the family attorney, a quiet man who speaks like a professor but builds systems that protect empires. He teaches you that power today doesn't rely only on force, but on structure. Documents, ownership layers, timing, legal frameworks that hide truth behind legitimacy. He tells you something that stays with you forever. Force may protect power for a moment, but systems protect it for generations. As you grow older, your life splits into two versions. In one, you are seen in public, schools, events, luxury spaces. Your name opens doors. People assume wealth, influence, prestige. In the other, you return to a world of coded conversations, quiet deals, and shifting alliances. You learn to move between both without letting them collide. You learn that elegance can hide things just as effectively as secrecy. At 16, your father takes you to the docks at night and asks what you see. You say trade, business, movement. Then you pause and say control. For the first time, he smiles fully. That is the closest he ever comes to confirming everything without saying it directly. By the time you reach university age, you are given a real role inside the family's legitimate operations. Offices, meetings, projects that look clean on paper. And some of it is real, which makes everything more complicated. Your family builds things, funds projects, supports institutions. The world sees a man who creates value. Others see something far darker. And you begin to understand that real power exists in the gray area where it becomes impossible to separate one from the other. But beneath the surface, cracks are always there. People disappear quietly. Deals collapse without explanation. Problems resolve themselves in ways that never feel natural. You try to stay on the clean side, telling yourself you can operate differently, but nothing here is ever fully separate. Every success is connected to something hidden beneath it. By 24, you have everything most people spend their lives chasing: status, wealth, access. Yet something feels wrong. Nights grow longer, thoughts grow heavier, and you begin asking questions you were never meant to ask. Who would you have been in another life? Does morality disappear all at once, or does it fade slowly without you noticing? Is loyalty strength, or is it a chain? One night, the family attorney stays behind after a meeting and speaks more honestly than ever before. He tells you the real trap isn't force, it's adaptation. You don't stay because you're forced to. You stay because eventually, you don't remember who you were before all of this. As your father grows older, you begin to see the cost of everything more clearly. He is still powerful, still in control, but something about him has changed. He trusts less, speaks less, watches more. The empire still stands, but it demands constant attention, constant awareness. And one evening, standing beside him overlooking the dark sea, you finally understand what you will inherit. Not just wealth, not just influence, but responsibility, isolation, and the constant weight of knowing everything can collapse if control slips for even a moment. You were born into luxury, but also into a system that shaped your life before you had a chance to choose it. The world sees elegance, power, refinement. It does not see the cost beneath it. It does not hear the quiet tension behind every conversation, or the doors that close softly behind every privilege. And that is your truth. You are not just living a life of power. You are carrying something built long before you existed, something too large to walk away from, standing at the center of a world that looks perfect from the outside, but feels like a cage the moment you understand it.